Good morning, dear all. Today, let us discuss about the cerebral hemispheres. So, as you all know, cerebral hemispheres are the largest part of they form the majority of the brain, which fits into the cranial cavity. So, in order to fit into the rigid cranial cavity, this cerebral hemispheres, so cerebrum means two cerebral hemispheres which are incompletely divided. So, it is made up of two cerebral hemispheres which are incompletely divided by means of a median cleft which is also called as the longitudinal cerebral fissure. So, why I say it is incompletely divided is it is connected in the center by means of corpus callosum. So, that is why we are referring it as it is incompletely divided. So, in this longitudinal cerebral fissure, we see the falx cerebri, the sickle-shaped dural fold which is present separating the two cerebral hemisphere is present between the longitudinal cerebral fissure. Now, this each cerebral hemisphere, it has got few external features. So, the external features are, it has got two poles. So, it has got a frontal pole and it has got a occipital pole. So, frontal pole it is rounded and the occipital pole we describe it as it is pointed in appearance. So, the two poles are the frontal pole and the occipital pole. The three surfaces of each cerebral hemisphere is it has got three surfaces, that is superolateral surface, medial surface and inferior surface. So, how are these divided? These are divided by the presence of three major borders, that is superomedial border, infralateral border and inframedial border. Now, this inframedial border has got three parts. So, what are those borders? So, each cerebral hemisphere it is made up of 6 borders. So, 6 borders. So, in between the two cerebral hemispheres in the upper and medial aspect, superior medial aspect, we have got the superomedial border. And then the other border is superciliary border, which will separate the superolateral surface from the orbital surface. And then you have got the inferolateral border, and these three are part of the inframedial border. So, infralateral border and inframedial border. So, inframedial border, in the anterior part it is referred to as medial orbital border, in the middle part it is called as inframedial, and in the posterior part it is called as medial occipital border. So, the part of the surface which is present between the superomedial and the infralateral border is superolateral surface. The part which is present between the infralateral and the inframedial, this is the inframedial surface, is the inferior surface. And the part of the cerebral hemisphere which is present between the superomedial border and the inframedial border is referred to as the medial surface. So, that is how we are dividing the cerebral hemispheres into three surfaces. So, I will show you some of the borders in this diagram. So, this will form the superciliary border. So, this is the superciliary border, and I told you the inframedial border it is divisible into three parts. So, that is the medial orbital border. So, this is the medial orbital border. Here we call it as the inframedial border, and here this part we are calling as the medial occipital border, and this is the inferolateral border. So, as I told you previously, in order to accommodate the big cerebral hemispheres within the rigid cranial cavity, they fold themselves, they form the convolutions and which are separated by the fissures. So, those convolutions are called as the gyri and the fissures are referred to as the sulci. So, basing on the presence of the gyri, the cerebral hemispheres they are divided into two different types, gyrencephalic and lissencephalic. So, if more number of convolutions are present, it is referred to as gyrencephalic, that is present in the higher mammals and man. And when the cerebral hemisphere is very smooth with no convolutions, it is referred to as lissencephalic. So, this is present in the lower mammals, reptiles and birds. So, what are the features present in each cerebral hemisphere? So, each cerebral hemisphere, it is made up of a outer layer of grey matter which is referred to as the cerebral cortex, and you have got the inner white matter which is made up of the nerve fibers, and then you will see large masses of grey matter in the basal area which are scattered within this white matter. So these are what which are referred to as the basal ganglia or basal nuclei, and then there is a cavity within each cerebral hemisphere which is called as the lateral ventricle. So basing on this, we will discuss in the coming videos what are all the different sulci and gyri present in each surface and what are all the functional areas related to that.